is that difficult to hire qualified employees in central Switzerland?
There are a combination of challenges. I mean, first of all, we needed to hire last year almost 600 staff within a time frame of about 6 to 12 months. So just going from 10, 20 employees then up to 600 in itself is already a challenge. I always like to refer to us as a startup company, and it feels like it as well. And then, of course, in our industry, we suffer, not only in central Switzerland, but I think in Switzerland in general, we suffer a little bit from finding good quality staff in places like kitchen service, housekeeping. These are all professions which it's very rare that you find Swiss people still who want to do these jobs. So in some cases, we had to go abroad to find the service staff.
Where abroad?
So, for instance, we went to Germany, we went to Austria, we also went to the Czech Republic, Slovakia. We have a lot of employees coming also from Eastern Europe. But we also, for some restaurants, we had to go to Asia to find Asian chefs or Middle Eastern chefs, because we want to offer here an authentic cuisine. We have a Pan-Asian restaurant, we have an Oriental restaurant, and for these we need the chefs who understand how the meals need to be prepared from those cuisines.
You're Swiss, but you worked abroad in several luxury hotels in Germany, in Beirut, Lebanon, and in Prague, Czech Republic. And it's your first managing job in Switzerland, if I'm correct. What makes it different to work in Switzerland?
I always feel that every place in itself, regardless of the country, is always a little bit different. Our profession is a very international profession, because in many cases we not only have local guests, but we also have international guests traveling to these destinations. And the needs of these guests are in many cases the same in Switzerland as they are in Germany or in Beirut or in other places that I worked in North America. Of course, there are always cultural differences when you work with the staff. So yes, you have to manage these cultural differences, and that means in certain areas you have to respect that culture, but equally they need to respect the local culture. So it's really about managing a mutual respect between the Swiss and also the international, both from an employee standpoint and also from a guest standpoint.
So you feel you have the same type of guests, of clients here in Bürgenstock Resort than you had in Lebanon or Czech Republic? Yes,
of course. I mean, there are nuances, because you have in the Middle East, you have more Middle Eastern clientele. Here you have more a European or North American clientele. But again, today, apart from the different cultural needs, the general guest needs are fairly similar to what guests want. But of course, a Middle Eastern guest acts or has slightly different needs than, let's say, a North American guest, yes.
Have you seen new habits in your clientele, new standards?
The habits is everything has to be faster today. The guests don't have the patience anymore to wait for a long time for a response. When they write to you or they call you, they want an immediate or almost the same day an answer. In the old days, it was okay to answer the guest in 48 hours or maybe even a bit longer. But today, the guest really decides very short term. The guest books more mobile and online than ever before. Probably that is becoming the more predominant way how people book. So it's extremely important that we are well positioned on our digital channels. More important than it is probably to have a hard copy of a prospect, or a brochure. So these are the changing habits. Everything is going online and is more digital, and the service expectation is also there, because the information available is far greater. There's far greater information available, but at the same time, guests expect to get a personalized service.
Hospitality is a long part of Switzerland's DNA, with many prestigious schools like École Hôtelière de Lausanne that you went to. Is Switzerland still at the top when it comes to hotel and restaurants, luxury hospitality?
I think that Switzerland is still considered a high-quality luxury destination, especially also for the hotels there. This has a long, more than 200-year tradition of really the top hotels in the world are in Switzerland or were first established in Switzerland, just as the Bürgenstock resort, which was established 145 years ago. So I think that it is definitely on the top. At the same time, the international hotel business has developed tremendously over the last year, especially when you look at Asia, when you look into the Middle East. There has been so much progress done over the last 20 years that we are competing internationally with other destinations, and they are, when it comes to providing great hotel facilities, great hotel service, they're on the same level, or in some cases maybe even higher than Switzerland. But I think what Switzerland has to offer is a very good educational system. So I think the hotel schools here are still the best in the world, especially when you look at Lausanne or Lyon or Lucerne. They provide first-class educational services for people who want to go, students who want to go into the hotel business, and that is being exported back into the other countries. So I think that's where Switzerland has a big role, or continues to play a big role. And also, I think with such products like we offer here in the Bürgenstock, we're setting new standards in the hotel industry. I mean, the way we set up the resort here is something that you don't readily find anywhere else in Europe for sure, and I would probably even guess in that kind of environment is difficult to find in any other destination.
And yourself, what did you learn and still use from your Swiss education in École Hôtelière de Lausanne or in your military service that you had?
I think one of the great benefits of having gone to a hotel school here in Switzerland is that, of course, you learn a lot about that you need to work in a very disciplined manner in order to be also successful. You have to have an attention to detail. You need to understand the details of the profession in order to also grow in this profession. It's a profession that requires a lot of passion and love for servicing the guests. And I think these are some of the values that I learned during my educational years here in Switzerland. And also that there's a very professional approach to how you service the guest, how you treat your staff, how you treat the people, that has carried me throughout my career very much so.
Your investors is Qatar Hospitality, a fund from Qatar. What's their impact on Bürgenstock resorts? So, some might say that Bürgenstock is losing its history because it's not owned by a Swiss company.
I would disagree with that statement. I think it's thanks to Qatar Hospitality that Bürgenstock became alive again. And if you look around, you don't feel like you're in a resort in the Middle East. I think you feel very much like you're in Switzerland. So Qatar Hospitality is the mother company that has invested more than 550 million Swiss francs into this resort in order to redevelop it. I haven't seen a Swiss company that was ready to do so. So I think there's a lot of the fear that is there, that is a change in the feeling of the Bürgenstock resort, or that there is too much influence from Qatar because they are the investors. When you look around, you don't see any of that. On the contrary, it's thanks to them that this resort, which was not in a very good state 10 years ago, was completely redeveloped and finds itself in a new blossoming period.
Now that Bürgenstock Resort is fully open, almost 1 year anniversary now, what is your goal for the next years?
Well, first of all, the resort is still in what we call a ramp-up phase. It's a huge undertaking, and for sure in the first year or in the second year, we cannot expect to be at the level we want to be in the next 3 or 4 years. So we're still learning a lot about how the resort, when you plan a resort like that, you have plans and you have ideas, and the moment you open up, those ideas hit reality. And reality is sometimes different than what the ideas were. So we're still in the process of making certain adjustments to our product, to the way we position it in one way or another, because we're also learning as we go along, and this is a process. And we are in the middle of the process, and I still think we will be in there for the next probably 12, 18, 24 months until we can really say, okay, now it's going everywhere the way we think it should be going. And I think that's going to keep us busy for the next 2 years.